All right, welcome to the FACEIT Season 2 LAN Finals. We're finally live. Thank you folks for sticking with us at home. I am Sir Scoots. I am joined by overall partner in crime all weekend. I got Duncan here, Thorin as you know him. And for our first couple matches, we're going to have you, Lurpus, helping us out. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Would have been nice to start a bit earlier, but we'll get things underway. We'll get rolling, get some matches going, hopefully.
Yeah. And again, I think one thing to keep in mind, to defend FACEIT a little bit, you know, this is obviously their first big Counter-Strike LAN. They've done Quake a couple years, Quake Cons, etc. And they've also, though, chosen to do this tournament within a convention, right? Milan Games Festival, really cool thing, but a lot of things end up out of your control.
Sure.
You have to wait for other vendors to provide stuff. So it's the nature of the beast when you go into a venue like this, and it definitely can't BS about it. It bit them in the butt a little bit this morning.
I mean, it's just not surprising anymore that any event is delayed. It's not a big deal. Most people are surprised to it, used to it, excuse me.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll get better in the future, but I mean, we should get rolling here now and get started, get some games
everything's
going.
working, internet's working, all that's good. We won't spend too much time on our pregame, but again, lots of money on the line. This is the end of a season, so these guys have been playing online, both in Europe and in North America, all season long. So it's not necessarily like a little qualification that brought them to the LAN tournament. This is kind of the end of a season, which is a little different than a lot of other tournaments we do. First place, 20 grand. Grand total, $44,000 given away in prize purse, plus an additional $9,000 spread amongst the teams for travel, which as an ex-team guy, that helps a lot when you got your hotels paid for, those kind of things. So really, you're looking at over 50 grand in prizes and help, which is really, really cool.
That actually makes it one of the, I think that, well, if you include the travel, I think it's the highest paid tournament in prize money after the majors. It's like the highest non-Valve funded tournament.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
So let's jump right into it. Let's just talk about this veto system because it is different. And we've chatted about it offline a lot. I know a lot of people online are talking about it because FACEIT's done a little different system with their league online with the home and away and the veto system. So walk us through how that works, and then we'll jump right into this match and who's vetoed what.
Well, I mean, what makes this interesting is, if you think about it, we've seen the normal veto system play out a million times. And as a result, if you've ever seen the shows that me and you have done before, I can usually guess which team's going to pick this, why are they going to do that, and you know roughly what you're going to play. But the idea here with this home and away system is that the team that's playing, I think it's the away team, are the ones who ban their two maps, and then the home team just picks.
Yep.
And so the key thing here that's going to be different, okay, is it's very unlikely, because you only got 2 bans out of the 7 maps, that you can take away all the strong maps for the home team. So that's why it's the home advantage. The home team's going to get to play, they get to pick the map that gets played on. You can sort of limit it a bit, but they're going to pick one they want, but then because you're home and away, you get to play home next, and then you get to pick the map you want. So I actually prefer this sort of system. I've always wanted to go to a map system where there were picks before bans, because I've always wanted to see teams play the maps they're the best at. Because otherwise, unless 2 teams happen to both be good on a map, they're both going to like veto each other's strong maps, and you get kind of like a best of the worst scenario. Whereas we all want to see the best teams in the world on Inferno play Inferno. We want to see the best trained team play Train. So this is the sort of map system where, yeah, I get to have my strong map now, you get to have your strong map next, and then we have a good accounting for who's really the best, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also a fan of picks before bans. That's what I suggested a long time ago, and I think it's a much better system than what we previously used in any tournament.
Okay.
Just for that reason, I think fans are going to be happy too, because we'll probably see a lot bigger variety of maps being played this weekend. Exactly,
and again, it's a seven map pool. Let's go ahead and look at the groups too, and I'll talk over the maps. So it's a 7 map pool. Your standards: Inferno, Dust 2, Nuke, Mirage, Cache. Season, the more of original CS:GO season, not the new fancy one that just is coming out. And Overpass is our new map. So you saw the groups there. They changed the schedule a little bit today. Obviously, you saw the updated schedule on the start of the stream, but we're basically kind of doing some groups of matches. So again, instead of having C9 and LDLC get up, get down, get up, get down, they're going to play both their home and away matches right in a row. And then we'll do the same thing with Virtus.pro and LDLC. On the secondary stream, which is FACEIT Community on Twitch TV, FACEIT Community, all the second matches are happening too. So every match is being streamed here. So one way or another, you get to watch all the action. You didn't miss anything with the delays. And then because of the delays, we're also going to flip the last 2 group matches to tomorrow morning. So again, because we're again in that sense of being a convention center, you have a limited amount of time to do your tournament. They kick you out. We don't want to lose any matches tonight, so we just automatically pushed everything till tomorrow. So it's good stuff. Again, let's talk briefly about these 6 teams. You guys saw the groups. You guys' general thoughts about the European contenders and the 2 teams from North America.
You can start.
Well, I think iBUYPOWER will get top 6 here. That'll be their best placing so far in Europe.
They will get, or they already did get?
I mean, once it's all said and done, they will have finished in the top 6. That's big stuff. I mean, there's 6 potentially good teams if iBUYPOWER plays like they played at ESCAs. Then there's 6 potentially very good teams here. There's still a bit of a question mark to me. Not really sure how they match up against Europeans. We all know they do well against Cloud9, but obviously here they're going to have to go up against Dignitas and Fnatic. Out of these 5 Europeans, though, those are the 2 teams I think they have, 4 Europeans, excuse me, have a better chance of beating, of getting an upset against. As far as Group A is just 3 really good teams. So, I mean, just very good teams here. That's my favorite thing about finals events, because there's already a qualifier before it, which means there's not a lot of weak teams.
Yeah.
So you get to avoid those annoying group stages where it's just really good teams beating down on slightly worse teams.
Yeah, and again, we talked about it offline, like, without waving my North American flag, my dual Canada-US flag, like, this is the best shot of a North American team to walk away with the title in Europe, at least right now. Least amount of teams of most major, most events, and again, the way the groups have split out, like, they got a shot, again, for European teams that are rock solid.
I mean, when you talked before about like asked me about the setup of the home and away thing, yeah, okay, it means that when they play as the away team, they might have to play a really strong European team on their map, but it means crucially they get their map that they're going to be strong on. So whereas that might have been eliminated in a normal pick ban phase, now at least you can be sure, well, at least we're going to get like 2 strong maps here that we can play for sure. So actually, again, that plays into giving the underdogs a chance to potentially upset some of these teams, get into the semifinals.
So let's get right into that match, obviously. C9, LDLC. We don't know the second match yet, even though they're going to play back-to-back, but we do know that C9 was the away team. They have banned Mirage and Overpass, leaving LDLC to pick Inferno. So the CS Inferno streak continues here. Thoughts on the maps? Well,
before I let Duncan go on the Inferno pick, I think the fact that C9 is removing Overpass is a huge problem for them in this entire tournament, because Overpass has become really popular in Europe. Every single one of these teams from Europe here plays Overpass. They all like playing Overpass. And the fact that Cloud9 still doesn't play just tells me they're going to have to remove that against every single team, which is going to make the map selection for them that much harder. But Duncan surely has a lot more to say about Inferno in particular.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense also just to touch on Mirage as to why they throw Mirage out, because actually LDLC have shown themselves they might be one of the best teams on Mirage. They're very dangerous on that. You don't want to play them on that. But here's the problem. Because of the system here, yeah, you got rid of Overpass. Phew, we don't play that. Like Mirage, very dangerous. That's our pick's gone. Now they get to, it's not like we then flip to see what's left. Then the French team literally picks them up. So they've picked Inferno. Now the problem here is, with this new LDLC lineup, they've never lost on Inferno ever. They beat NIP 16-3 at DreamHack Stockholm. They've beaten Na'Vi, who are a very good Inferno team, twice at the Star Ladder, the last one in number 11. Meanwhile, Cloud9, under the name Cloud9, have never played Inferno. So, listen, there's some history going back. If you remember Complexity, famously had some good games against like Astana and against Very Games, and they always used to do well against the French teams in the past on Inferno, but I'm reaching a bit there. I'm trying to find some light in the tunnel there. I have to feel like this is going to heavily favor LDLC. Like, I think this is a really great map pick for them, and unfortunately set up, like Lopez said, by the fact that you couldn't get rid of Inferno because you don't want to play Overpass against them. So I think it kind of like, it was left open, and this is what LDLC correctly have chosen.
Makes perfect sense. And again, like, these two rosters have not met, with LDLC being so new anyway.
But I mean, like Duncan said, LDLC has been really, really good on Inferno since the team was formed. A couple of weeks ago, I think I may have been talking to him before they were playing NIP on Inferno, and I looked at their stats, and they were 5-0 against NIP on Inferno alone with this new roster. So I mean, obviously NIP's fallen a little bit, but LDLC is just a really, really good Inferno team, and that goes back to shox's previous teams as well.
Yeah. shox famously, every team he's been on, he's always very good on Inferno, because this map actually plays into his strengths. It's a lot of like mid-range game. You're never usually taking 5-on-5 fights. It's usually like 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, 1-on-2s. It's a map where if you get into a 1-on-X situation, like shox is famous for being amazing at, you can create 1-on-1s. Like, it's really a map that plays into his style, and then you add in guys like NBK, SmithZz. These players in very games were legendary on Inferno. So yeah, I think this is a very strong map for LDLC. I think to kick it off, they're very much favorites to take the first game.
Now, what I don't know, and maybe they can tell me in my ear, is how does that mean that if LDLC, are they doing a knife round for sides, or does it go back to the lower, the away team to pick the sides? You guys,
I would assume it's the knife round, because that's what they did online.
They do it online, right? Okay.
Yeah,
so there you
but
go.
I mean, we could get a confirmation for that.
I guess, so again, kind of a 50-50 on that in the sense of sides, which again, Inferno necessarily doesn't matter so much anyway. It can kind of go either way.
I mean, I think the whole starting on whatever side thing is overrated in general.
You think even on, let's just say Nuke, for example, even on one that we know is, you still have to play both sides. That's your point, right? So,
yeah. I mean, if you're a mentally strong team, I don't think it should make that big of a difference. Like, yeah, it can make a small difference. For mentally not so strong teams, maybe a bigger difference, but that's part of the game. You got to be able to withstand that. You got to be able to forget about the score and just play as if it was 0-0.
So as an ex-player, that's exactly what you mean, right? In the sense of, like, if we go down 13-2 or 2-13 on our side, a good player doesn't sweat that, because you've got the whole second side to make up for.
Exactly.
But how many people, do you think that grinds into their head, like, oh shit, we are way down?
But I mean, you can also turn it another way around. If you do get a lot of rounds on T side, say you get 6 rounds on that T side on Nuke, then all the pressure is on the other team in the second half. So it works 2 ways. Everybody always looks at it one way, just the way that they want to support their argument. But I mean, there's 2 sides to that coin as well.
Makes sense. Let's go ahead. We've got a little time. They're setting the servers up still. I know that you haven't updated the Half-Life TV rankings for quite a while, so we can't speak to them in the sense of where everyone sits. Too many tournaments, right? You're too busy. But I know that you've kind of sat down and looked through some stuff. So let's go. Let's get the Thorin current top 10.
Here's the thing, right?
We have theme music. Can we?
We used to have the Lurpis top 10 rankings in the world, but he slipped up a bit. So I got in there. I saw my chance. I put together the Thorin top 10. So here's the first news, is that all 6 teams are in my top 10.
Okay.
So I'll start and go down from the top, okay? So LDLC Fnatic, I had number 1 and number 2. LDLC because they won the recent Star Ladder, beating Titan. They finished second at DreamHack Stockholm. So the last 2 events, strongest for them. Fnatic, okay, Fnatic haven't won an event except one of the Star Ladder events, but okay, they were second at the major and they were close to winning it. Didn't do so well at DreamHack Stockholm, but overall, I think the average of those 3 events gets them to about second. Once you go beyond that, though, do you have a comment on that?
He wants to jump in.
I just wanted to add that Fnatic have been really dominant online. I know we don't consider that too much, but
that's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. Just
congrats.
Add that.
Here's the medal. Yeah. That's for you. Okay.
They just don't get DDoS, is what you're saying, right?
Okay. So you're asking for people to DDoS Fnatic now. It's kind of BM, but okay, Scoots. Anyway. Other teams I have here, if we go down, Virtus.pro, I have them at number 5 because they did win Gfinity. Actually, yeah, they didn't do that terribly at ESL 1. They made it to the round of 8. Admittedly, we haven't seen them since then. They didn't go to DreamHack Stockholm, so yeah, you can't give them too high up in the rankings. Then let's go down again. Dignitas, I maybe have them lower than other people would. I have them down at number 7, and here's the reasoning. Okay, yes, they came to the semi-finals of the last major, ESL 1 Cologne. That's great. DreamHack Stockholm, they bombed out in the group stage to a Finnish team who weren't supposed to beat them, and they just don't go to many tournaments. So I actually think if you don't go to many tournaments, I don't give you credit for not losing tournaments and put you down. Like, I just kind of say, okay, you have to do more to show me. So they're down at number 7. Then we've got the last 2 teams, the 2 American teams. I've actually got iBUYPOWER at number 8 because, okay, they won ESEA LAN, which did have some strong teams there. People forget, they did make it to the round of 8 of Gfinity. They made it out of the group, which had like teams like NIP and all those in there. So that's a decent result. Okay, didn't do well at the major. They went out in the group stage there, but that's still good enough for number 8, I think. And then I have Cloud9 at number 10. Again, decent performance, second place at ESEA. And then, of course, at the major, they challenged the team who eventually won it. They made it to the round of 8. Quite a strong showing. Beat Dignitas, beat these Titan. This was like overall quite a strong performance. So I've got all these teams. All 6 are in my top 10. And so actually, just to make a final comment on that, the way the top 10 is structured, like you saw even when I went from the top LDLC, Fnatic, I didn't have strong reasons like they're definitely number 1 or this one's just number 2 by a hair. It's very tenuous at the top now. In my opinion, if anyone out of LDLC, Fnatic, Virtus.pro or Dignitas was to win this event, I think that would be enough to put them number one. I think the overall stretch, they've all got their positives and negatives, so a win here would make you the number one. So this could potentially seed the next number one going into tournaments like Fragby or DreamHack Winter, the next major.
Your thoughts on that, Mr. Top 10 expert himself?
No, I think that's a solid ranking. There's a couple teams I would shuffle around, but I mean, there just isn't. The reason we haven't made the ranking yet is because there's just not been enough tournaments. So you'd have to. You've got to really know what you're talking about if you're going to nail it down now. You can't just go by the numbers here, Tommy. You have to base it on tournaments that were far away a long time ago, or online stuff, which I never want to base anything on online play because it's just not the same.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I mean, obviously, we're seeing a lot of online play, just in the nature of the game. A lot of tournaments. Obviously, most of the solid big ones are ending at LAN, but still a lot of online play. But again, we still have that kind of mentality, like, it's online. Do you think that'll ever change in the sense that I mean, obviously, it's different. You're in your home environment. Stress goes away, but a lot of other games have a lot of stuff happening online too, and I don't think you hear as much of, that's an online tournament.
Well, I mean, Duncan can probably speak more to this, but I feel like a game where aiming is a big part of it is probably more sensitive to playing from home because there's more variation in
makes perfect sense
just in how you play. And also, I mean, lately with all the DDoS issues that online play has had, I mean, that just makes online even less valuable because so many games get affected by that, and that doesn't show up in the stat sheet unless they get a ringer to replace whoever crashed. And also, just finally, I mean, there's just too much online play now. There's games every single day. So let's say today you're watching Fnatic play NIP. Okay, whoever wins, great. They're going to play again in 3 days, and then again next week, and then again the week after that. So the games lose meaning when there's so much of it.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah, the big problem with online play is I don't think it doesn't count for anything. I think it gives you a hint as to what form people have. Crucially, probably the most important thing that people overlook about the online play is it gives you an idea of what teams think themselves of their strongest maps, like which ones are they leaning towards, which are they shying away from. That'll usually give you a sense of where the team sees themselves. I think it has value there. The problem is I'll never rank it over LAN results, Sure. So actually, even if it's a month, say Dignitas hadn't, well, actually Virtus.pro is a better example. They haven't played since the LCL1 Cologne in an offline tournament. Well, except game show, I guess. But I kind of go back to the last LAN result and I kind of get my sense of what they're like then. I don't take necessarily losses online too much there because think historically, any of the teams who've dominated online, there's almost no incident where they then went to the big LAN that was next and they were like, we're just as dominant on this LAN now. The online results all counted. Actually, often you get the opposite happen. So Fnatic came into the DreamHack Stockholm tournament with this incredible online run. I think probably the best in CSGO history. They had some stats, like I think they were like 10-1 on Inferno. They were beating everyone. They had like crazy map win rates of 80-90% with this new lineup. You'd think, right, well, an event like that, they're going to dominate it. They're definitely going to win. And instead, they went out actually in the semi-final. They didn't even make the final. So you can see the history is there that these results don't always match up entirely. I do think it hints towards who's in form. I think it hints towards which maps they like. But take it with a pinch of salt, I think.
Sure. And you brought up a really valid point. Like a lot of other game communities, like Dota 2 is a prime example, the word oversaturation has been used all last year in regards to that game. Lots of tournaments, lots of good tournaments with good prize money that a lot of the teams want to compete in. And they're having lots of scheduling issues, overlapping issues, and teams are having to make very, very rough decisions. You want to play in as much as possible for your sponsors, for your own money. We're starting to see that now. And like, I keep hearing about more and more organizations that are starting to care, that want to care about this game, that want to start supporting it. It's great. We have FACEIT now, right? They started as a Quake company. Right. Now they're doing it. So, like, I think 2015 is going to be off the hook in that sense, but like, do we have too much Counter-Strike to where like it becomes meaningless if these top teams constantly are playing each other?
I don't think so. I think the problem is Counter-Strike has started picking up more and more as the year went on, and then when companies still have money left in the budget, they just spend it on that. So now everything is at the end of the year. If you think back to the summer, there was almost nothing then. Yep. We had DreamHack Summer, ESEA Finals, then nothing all of July, then G3, ESL1, again a month with nothing. So I think it's just a case of where we need to schedule everything better all around the year. Yeah, just spread it out.
Yeah, because as a ex-team guy, the problem, if you're a team owner, is your travel budget gets smaller and smaller and smaller towards the end of the year, and then all of a sudden these cool tournaments pop up and you go, oh no, how do we go, And again, we've seen teams dip out, like NIP decided not to do ESEA because ESEA's dates, but then ESEA changed their dates. So again, so now if you're an ESEA NIP fan, you don't get to see that happen, right? And again, I think it's one of those, this is a really good problem to have.
No, I think that's the point. Here's the thing, it's a problem that actually will take care of itself if the game grows. When people say that esports are oversaturated, I think the problem there is that if you have a static tournament circuit, so you have all these tournaments in a row, but they never get like bigger, and there's like, they're all similar levels, so you're just going to try and play in all of them. The way that it'll take care of itself is, let's say next year we knew for sure there's definitely 3 majors, okay? They all have 100k first place. Let's say we know now with like FACEIT and other tournaments, now you've got all these LANs, maybe they have 10k, 20k first place. If we get, so we've got 3 with 100k first place, we've got 5 with 20k, 3 with 10k, eventually what will happen is, naturally, the absolute best teams won't play every single online tournament. They'll start saying, right, we have to save ourselves. Yep. We have to win this 100k one, and now I don't want to burn myself out before the 20k one. They'll start limiting it, and crucially, this is where it'll be a good problem to have. Because now, when they bounce out and they say, right, we're just going to focus on the 100k because we're favorites to win it. Now, a team like London Conspiracy, Mouse Sports, they get to step into their spot, win that money, get a chance to play maybe the 5th best team, get a win over Na'Vi, play against Hellraisers. Actually, it'll be good for the scene, and it'll create a hierarchy. In every other sport, like I'll give you an example, the best is tennis. In the ATP, in theory, the best player can only play in the majors if he wants, the 4 majors. But if he wants to keep his ranking points up, maybe he plays this tournament before, and if I win those, I get these points. But overall, they can choose. There's a lot of tournaments over a year, and none of them will attend all of them. They'll all pick like, well, this one's one of my favorites. I like that setup, but I don't really like that one, and it's just before the big one, so I'll skip on that one. I think naturally, as it becomes like a real sport, as the prize purses go up and as the prestige goes up, people will get out of the old mentality of like, oh, there's not enough tournaments, I want to play everything, and I want to just win that 200 euros there and 100 euros here. Eventually, teams like LDLC will say, okay, if we've got a better chance to win 100,000, let's just skip this smaller tournament now, or we're going to give something up, and let's just go for that. So I think it'll take care of itself eventually.
That's also something that I wrote about a while ago, is that it'd be really good for the scene if Valve could announce the next year's majors, like at the beginning of the year, because then everybody else could you'd have the framework to work around when you plan your other events. So I think that would really help, because now it seems like, well, based on this year, that we're going to have 3 events a year from Valve, basically 3 majors, which is solid.
Yeah,
nothing to complain about.
In a year's time, we've had 4, but in a calendar year, we've had 3.
Yeah,
because obviously DreamHack will be the 4th, and it was also the 1st. So. And I think, like you said, that's a really valid point that maybe we have over Dota, is that we have these majors spread out, whereas they have the one big international. At least we've kind of got these milestones every 3 months that the other organizers just kind of fit in between. And I love your analogy of like, it gives those lesser teams, because again, if they can never get in and never get exposure, they won't support a CS team, right? So we need more teams. No offense to the ones that are supporting now, but we need an EG, we need an Alliance, we need all these other brands to pick it up. Because again, the game is most certainly back. I think the majors continually growing. Valve sees those numbers, everyone sees those numbers. You know, sticker money keeps going up and up for the teams. It's great stuff. Again, obviously, you know, I'm a diehard fan, so I'm like to use that phrase, a pig in shit, when it comes to Counter-Strike. So it's like you said, it's a good problem to have. That being said, good start of the event. Sorry we started late, folks, but I know the players are ready for match 1. Cash are ready. Before I throw to those guys, though, can I ask for predictions, or do you guys not want to go down this road?
No, I don't mind.
Sure. I think LDLC is going to win.
Okay.
If you're going to be that bold, then wow. Holy moly, let's see if you're right there. I'll say that LDLC will win 16-5. I think it's going to be a confident, strong win, and then Cloud9 will rue the day they had to leave Inferno up, and we'll see on their home map
16-5.
Yeah, 16-8.
16-8. All right. That being said, that's us here at the analyst desk. We'll be back after map 1, but right now, Red Eye and DDK, it's all yours. Take us into the first match.
Thank you very much, Scoots, Lapis, and of course, Thorin there on the desk. Myself, Paul Red Eye Chandler, here at the FACEIT LAN in Milan. It's going to be fantastic to get back into some Counter-Strike, and alongside me, DDK, a very old friend of mine, actually. We actually go back together a long way.
I was trying to think last time I was at an event with you. Long
time ago.
It was like 2006 maybe. It's been ages.
Yeah.
Quake 4.
Yep.
I think, oh my god, even Tuga was playing in the team in the finals.
Tuga was actually a good player once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
It's a long time ago. But we are very excited. I'm personally very, very excited to get into some Counter-Strike today. It's been an awful long time since I've been able to commentate on the game. So.
Well, last time, right? Warclown was running around naked. I don't blame you for not revisiting Counter-Strike for a while. Once you were exposed to that,
he was doing some strange things.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Warclown back in the day. But hopefully none of that nonsense today. Daniel
keep
promised your clothes on, right?
Yeah, all the clothes are staying on.
Okay,
unfortunately, maybe we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get into the game fairly shortly. I'm hearing that they are not too far away from getting underway. But before they do that, it gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about what the gents were talking about on the analysis desk. And great game to start things off, LDLC versus Cloud9. I'm always a big fan of these Euro versus North American matchups.
Yes. We have so little data on what actually happens when they clash. You can't help but not be incredibly excited, especially considering Cloud9, ESL 1 performance. They just won so many fans. I think they had some of the most exciting matches of that tournament. They featured in, I think, 3 major clashes, but we're actually going live into the pistol round. LDLC on CT and Cloud9 on T.
Here we go then. Game 1 of the FACEIT Season 2 Finals. $44,000 up for grabs. And LDLC on a very hot streak recently, of course. Fantastic run of victories and winning star ladder recently as well. Happy with a nice headshot on the shroud, evens things up in this opening round. SmithZz though is going to come around the back here, and they have managed to break into the bomb site very quickly as Gares will get another one here. It's 3v3.
That bomb is going down on a little bit of an embarrassing moment as soon as they realize that it was all a trick, and they have a long run to that bomb, and this is going to be very difficult. They'll have very limited amounts of time. They do have a kit on shox though, so there is certainly a hope for them to be able to pull this off, but they can't really be wasting any time here. And Cloud9 so far look to be delaying them very successfully.
Wow, a couple of great shots from LDLC though. Now just the last man alive here will be Hiko, and he's not going to be able to get anything out of the round at all. 3 left on the site. Bomb just about getting defused, yes. That was a little bit too close for comfort for round 1, but LDLC do have pistol in hand, 1-0.
Yeah, it's not so common actually that you see a fake like that come out in the pistol round. It's usually teams, especially on the T side, especially LDLC as well, against LDLC, you've got to watch out for their strategic and tactical prowess on the CT. They're very aggressive, they love to find information, and we often see situations where they're able to quickly understand what's happening. But Cloud9 are able to actually deceive them there, and perhaps some of this tricksy play from Cloud9 might just be catching LDLC off guard, not only in the pistol, but later in the match. We'll have to see how the American style comes into play in these future rounds, but definitely it's a nice start that they got the bomb down. They're going to be able to buy up on after this pistol round.
Yeah, pushing into banana already, actually. They're going to try and get into the side very quickly here. Semphis trying to make his way in. Did a little bit of damage, but not a major amount. And SmithZz trying to hold the site happy. Also at the back of ruins here as well. He might be able to fill his boots here. He's going to get one. Bomb is planted as well. A little bit of pressure here for LDLC as SmithZz comes in and gets another one to dig. Oh, Happy missed out on the first shot. He's going to have to try and do it the second time around with a pistol, and will do so. And now inside sight, this looking a lot more simpler at the end of the round, but that's a little bit messy there. There was Happy got away with just 7 points of health. SmithZz and NBK both went down as well. It was a little bit more costly than perhaps they would have liked.
That was actually pretty ridiculous, all things considered. Cloud9, even if they hadn't had a situation where they would get the bomb down or any frags, they're still buying next round. They're still actually quite happy with how things are going to be going. But now they're going to have a good surplus of money going into this next round. A full buy-up of nades and AKs. Everything looks fantastic for them. And having lost so many players early on, LDLC are certainly not in the best of situations money-wise.
Yeah, full buy from Cloud9. Round 3. Got a mag 7 on NBK.
This is a good position for NBK for sure.
Yeah, likes this one. Lovely headshot from NBK. He's going to get one. Oh, they're blinded. He could fill his boots here, but doesn't manage to get a second one. Nothing will shut him down. Happy replying back and Shroud in with another. And we're all back square once more in terms of personnel here in round 3. Lovely little mag 7 headshot, but really should have done better, NBK, with the second one.
Bomb has been planted.
Hiko on site. shox picks off one with a nade. One man advantage now. Sean, Gares and Hiko on the side, trying to defend here from the corner. They'll pick up one, reply back though, and Hiko now is not going to be able to clutch the round, and instead SmithZz is the man that wins out and gets the defuse. The early buy doesn't work, and the French lead 3-0.
But they are getting the bomb down every single round so far, and that's $800 all around, so it's going to put them in a really good position when it comes to the cash. I mean, and they keep eating away LDLC's economy. They keep getting these frags, and LDLC are going to be basically within an eco very soon here. If they, I think Cloud9 should basically be able to take them to an eco if they win this round, and even if they're able to inflict massive damage, there will still be massive problems on the money for LDLC. So Cloud9 must be feeling excellent right now, despite losing the rounds.
Smith's trying to find a pick in middle. Nothing doing for him so far. No, well, actually does pick up one on the other side of the map. And now Cloud9 again on banana. Spoke to Jordan just before the tournament started, and he said the only thing they're worried about is their T-side strats. Well, early on, 3-0 down. It's still early days, of course, but he did say if they could get their T-side working, they felt confident that they could make it out of the groups.
Yeah, ready to go in there. Looks like a set play order today. Only 4 players remaining, so let's see how well LDLC can defend this. The resmoke does come in, though.
Definitely looking towards this B-bomb site right now. NBK defending in a fairly advanced position now, just behind the smoke. They've decided, actually, this is not the way they want to go. 40 seconds remaining of the round. They need to make a decision on which side. It does look as if the covered site will be the eventual location. Still trying to get a pick though, and NBK will take down nothing at the top of banana, and that will force their hand now, and they're going to have to go top mid here. Here is Gares trying to get round CT Arch side. Doesn't get the pick on that side. Smith's now covering the angle. Does pick up the second shot of the round, and another one. There's a second one round the corner, and that'll be the last man standing now, Shroud, with 12 seconds of the round to go. Now, can he get the bomb and plant quickly? No, I don't think he can here. 5 seconds, he's going to do well to hold on to his gun. And just as I say that commentary curse strikes the American. It's 4-0.
Yeah, really important round for LDLC to pick up cleanly because, again, so much damage being done to their economy. They're still not out of the woods yet when it comes to the economy game. But as far as Cloud9 go in that round, I mean, they had a really big issue, like losing Smith so early on. You can see that they wanted to try to force a play onto B, but they were just in this awkward position where the nades were stopping them. They can't just run through the smokes against LDLC, and you know this forced them to then try to find something else, leaving nothing to try to create an opportunity for the rotation back onto the B side. Couldn't find that, lose another player, then it's a slippery slope. You've got to find another drastic play, a risky play to bring in a result, but it just didn't happen, as they do strike hard on this anti-eco, and Cloud9 got to reach into the bag of tricks and try to see if they can throw LDLC off now.
Yeah, they all picked up 75s off that last round as well, and didn't actually do a single point of damage, let alone get a kill. Not a single point of damage. They were completely ruined. Wrecked, I think, is the appropriate terminology. 5-0 then. That was an eco. This time round, full buy for Cloud9. Just the single AWP in play right now for LDLC. Cloud9 looking for the early pick and will get one through Hiko. So SmithZz having gone down. That's an important kill for Cloud9 because it's taken the AWP out and potentially given them a bit of an access point here. But shox says no inside those white holes and will pick up a kill on Hiko.
Very tentative stuff here from LDLC, losing Smith so early. Really the only player to put in any aggression, and they're just trying to gain some real estate here. They don't have to commit towards the A side after they take middle. They forced 2 to a side after picking that one off early on, creating the delay.
Seen nothing aggressive so far from Cloud9, at least not in the early part of the round, have we?
No, absolutely not. They're just trying to make sure that LDLC sit in their despair and force the 2 to a site, and they can then try to convene on one area which they feel like they can find an advantage, and it seems like that will be B.
Yeah, there's actually a nice little crossfire set up in A between kioShiMa and shox, but it does look as if they're going to rotate back here through the middle. They've managed to get one man up top middle by Boiler, not Boiler as it is now, and we'll pick up one here. shox and NBK getting a frag apiece. Shroud replying back though. kioShiMa goes down now to Gares, and they're into the site with a 2v2. 5 seconds remaining here. Happy just trying to pick someone off through the smoke. And now, pressure is on now for LDLC. They were flawless so far at 5-0. 2-man take back of the site about to be attempted. NBK and Happy. They're going to go for this one. Plenty of cash in the bag, and they will lose one straight away. Now I wonder whether that will force Happy away. No, he's going to go into the site. He's going to get shut down by Shroud. And the North Americans finally have their first round on the board here at the FACEIT Finals.
Yeah, you can see that actually LDLC, with that play, they tried to actually pull one player over from the A defense who would have been in a kind of a floating position, and actually LDLC had the guy from B more of in a floating position. So their play actually didn't help them too much, and it was still a 2-on-4 advantage. So they did execute really well. Cloud9 definitely experiencing some success so far. Let's see how much more they can put together. LDLC are taking this very passively. They're a team which puts a lot of aggression on the board, especially when their economy starts to really get up there. So I'm curious to see if they're in the next few rounds, if LDLC are going to start doing aggressive takes on Banana and try to find information. But they seem to be at the moment very tentative, very passive, and afraid maybe of the picking potential. As we see that this movement is being read, they're floating a player back towards B. Should receive this rush quite well.
Yeah, 2 men now on that B side. They only have that single one. Flash is now coming in towards the side. The push is going to come any second now. Here it comes. NBK though lines them up nicely, gets a double. semphis though shutting him down as they try and make their way in towards the bomb site. Bomb is in the hands of nothing right now, and he can get that bomb planted on Great. 3v4. Happy to the right hand side here, trying to come back through ruins. That fire just to the left hand side of him going to stop any of his teammates coming through just yet, but here they go. kioShiMa trying to come from CT spawn, and they're trying to coordinate their push into the site as they come in now. semphis though picks up a lovely headshot. Actually, Nothing picks up that one. Hiko with a double, and SmithZz the only man to reply in that, as Hiko actually gets a triple in the end and a 4-man in the round, and Cloud9 bring another round to the board. That was much better, DDK. Much better.
Oh yeah, and considering the after plant setup that they had, it wasn't even that ideal. LDLC had a kind of every possibility to go for that. They actually took construction back really quickly, which is a really key, very important area for the T's to actually try to take over. But looks like LDLC might be getting a little bit aggressive and actually push back though. So shox going to go for the repeat, but wow.
You know what? That was always going to happen as well. I felt that as soon as he got dinked round the corner, I thought there's a nade coming
Waiting
next.
for the nade.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where our nade went. Someone stole our grenade.
Yeah, they did. They've stolen the FACEIT grenade. It's gone. We do have a 4v3 in favour of LDLC right now, so they did manage to get that one back after losing shox early on. That'll be annoying.
It's still a good situation for Cloud9. I mean, they can once again try the similar play as before, where they try to keep the threat level very high on one area. Well, on both areas of the map. They split both 2 players up onto other side from LDLC. So then if they can try to float one extra over, if they sell a very convincing idea that, okay, it's going to be B, then they get the rest of the players going. This is something they tried before. They could just mix it up right now and keep LDLC on their toes.
Danger here for SmithZz as he comes under pressure. They're going to smoke him out. Does he come back through? No, he doesn't. And semphis now equalises things up. They're going to get into this bomb site. And as DDK said earlier on, the bomb plants are aplenty, thank you very much. They've had plenty of those. Yeah. They've been very good terrorists and have been rewarded with money every single round from their bomb plants. Can they hold on to another one here? NBK in towards the bomb site, does pick up the first one with a lovely headshot onto Shroud. Happy's going to get another one here. kioShiMa though, into the site, finishes off semphis and gets the defuse. And that'll be LDLC stopping the North Americans in their tracks, because they were just starting to build a bit of what we call the Big Mo.
The Big Mo?
Momentum.
Oh, right, okay, right. No one's used that before.
Really?
Like that I've heard. Is that a new thing or is that an old thing?
No, it's an old thing.
It's an old
Momentum
thing.
in Counter-Strike, very important. The Big Mo.
I'm gonna steal that. That's
yeah.
good. The Big Mo. But it was quite cool from Cloud9 to actually mix it up. They found themselves in the same situation, but at this time they just hit B fairly quickly instead of trying to pull players from LDLC and using the clock to their advantage. LDLC getting a little bit aggressive. Happy there. Yeah,
there's a chance for Happy to have a nice little eco bash here, but well, not quite. Got himself one.
And it's a very committed position as well. He did get the flash over from a teammate, but again, it's very difficult to get out of that position.
Wow. That took a lot. That took a lot to get him down, and kioShiMa picks up the double on the covered site. SmithZz will reply back with another, and Shroud will now be LMS. Last man standing. 1v3 here, and that's not going to happen, as SmithZz will pick him off with the AWP. 7-2. And LDLC's run, of course, over the last couple of months has been extraordinary. The French, I don't know about the French are coming. The French have arrived, frankly. They've won 3 of the last 3 tournaments, the big tournaments.
Yep.
Titan winning 1, LDLC winning the other 2. Hard to see, really, how they can be beaten, but there are 5 great teams that they've got to play this weekend, and they're going to get put under pressure for sure. Cloud9, as I said earlier on, nothing said to me that if they could get their T-side working, they would have a chance. They haven't really got it going just yet. A couple of really good rounds, one in particular, very well executed.
And the thing as well is that LDLC are still feeling out Cloud9. I mean, they're not really...
I mean, they haven't played each other as a team before. I mean, I think all the
Exactly,
players have played each other in various different teams, but they haven't played them in their current format.
They're taking it fairly conservatively. I mean, SmithZz is feeling at liberty to peek down middle. We've seen him get picked that way, but generally speaking, we also saw him get a pick that way. So that's the kind of limit of their aggression and their information finding so far as they clean up this eco. And that's an 8-2 scoreline, so LDLC definitely starting to run away with this, and Cloud9 need to bring something.
Another round
now.
where no deaths on an eco either. I mean, we've been talking recently in the last few months about the fact that the CZ75's OP or whatever you want to say about it. It's a great gun. Doesn't have many bullets.
It's a dirty gun.
It's a great gun, Dan. Not a dirty gun. It's a great gun. As an AWPer, I love it because it just means it feels like you've got an AK and an AWP in your hands at both times. But what it has done, of course, is made these eco rounds much more balanced. You can actually have eco rounds where you can win more often than not.
And this is actually what I was talking about.
But they haven't done that today, and they needed to have done something. They needed to have done more in their eco rounds. This one isn't an eco, and well, they've lost 2 men already. Yeah,
LDLC finally mixing up, playing the aggressive banana play. This is the counter boost on the plant pot to try to look over the smoke. But again, that's something that's expected as a kind of a counter play, and it's quite easy for the CTs to find the pick there. And they have the bomb there as well. And the bomb is completely isolated, and there's 4 players ready to defend it. So
these guys are like, basically, they've turned up to the fair, right? And there are those ducks, those metal ducks in a chute, right?
All right.
And you're supposed to shoot as many as you can. You get a fluffy toy for it. Basically, there are 4 guys who've all turned up to the fair and all want to go at the fairground attraction right now, because they're literally, this is a duck shoot. They're waiting for these guys to come in, and they're just going to pick them up one by one. Here we go. shox with 1, 2, 3 in a row. Hat-trick for shox with the headshot finishing things off. And the fairground master in that round was LDLC shox.
Oh yeah, and this is like a switch up of the strategy as well, because with LDLC with a tactic like that, where they're able to throw both the Molotovs to cover in front of the deep banana smoke, this limits Cloud9's ability unless they have a very, very big push on banana to actually take over banana, and that means that without banana control, they're kind of limited to mid, and there's a very fast rotation from banana as well. So generally speaking, unless we see something crazy now.
Wow.
Looks like it's pretty easy,
what we're seeing crazy right now is SmithZz going absolutely crackers in the mid area. He's just clicking them down, easy as you like, one after the other. And shox will tidy things up at the end of the round for a 10-2 lead for LDLC. It's going very nicely, thank you very much.
And we could very well see much of these aggressive plays. It's quite easy for LDLC to pull these off, and this is so common in the European scene as well. We don't get to see a huge amount of North American Counter-Strike, so it's hard to say how well Cloud9 are going to be able to deal with it. But sgares actually picking up the AWP is going to mix things up. And SmithZz will take him down anyway, so very ready for this.
Yeah, SmithZz he's had a pretty good game so far. I'm not sure what his scoreline is at the moment, but just in the rounds that he's just in the last couple of rounds, he's been picking up frag after frag.
And that was
they all kind of chip it. I mean, I think that's what's great about this LDLC lineup, is that they can all do it.
And also, it's sgares picking up the AWP on the T side of Inferno also largely is to deal with SmithZz, because he's been taking so many liberties on middle. A lot of teams who play very passively, it's incredibly difficult to find a pick with the AWP, so sgares going down for nothing there is really difficult. Of course, they can still make something work, and they're going to try to get the pick up middle. There is a good setup here, though, from LDLC.
It's going to be another one for SmithZz, no problem at all. This time, semphis is the man that suffers at the hands of the AWP. Nothing. She did get one at quad here, and Hiko and Shroud are right with him. They're going to try and get into this covered site right now. SmithZz gets yet another one, and another one, added 4 to his death. Can he get the last one? He can! fabulous round. It's an ace from LDLC's SmithZz.
Wow, that is really, really beautiful and also incredibly demotivating for Cloud9. I mean, they keep losing players early on. They keep struggling to even get map control. I mean, this is a very standard thing that the Ts need to do on this map to actually gain options. On every map, you need to get map control. It gives you information, gives you the ability to obscure your plays. And once again, SmithZz gets very confident, peeking down middle, and they're not going to even challenge him with another AWP.
Well, that's
they're
the
going to
thing.
find another way.
Like this. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, shox. Well, could have absolutely got
Yeah.
a hat full of frags there, but didn't even manage to pick up one. Instead, semphis will come back round and get another one. SmithZz, though, again picking up another frag and another one after that. Finally gets shut down by semphis. 7 frags in a row without answer. And finally, they get rid of the annoyance that is SmithZz on that B-bomb site. It's now a 1v3, and the beard needs to go big. And he's not going to.
Yeah, that was, I mean, okay, the no-nonsense pace from Cloud9. Perhaps that could be the
First
answer.
time we've seen it. I said earlier on,
Yeah.
we've not seen any of that aggression. We've not seen any, like, just literally just gung-ho into a site. Pick one, stick with it, go. They've done it, it's worked.
LDLC can react now to that as well. They can just, for the last round, just tighten it up completely and see how things go. But it looks like shox is...
Thought about it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did
Thought
think about
about
that.
it, and then he was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I don't want my head taken off. I'd actually quite like to keep my head for a little bit longer in this round. And, yeah, I thought better of it. So kioShiMa just boosted up here. And he's going to get 1, 2. shox with a couple in there as well. And Gares has to run away and hide. It is the last round of the half, so he's going to do something here. Bomb is secured at what used to be boiler, but I don't know what we're going to call that, tool room or something now. I don't know. Maybe it changes its name.
It will forever be boiler.
It's got to be boiler room. It's always been boiler room. It can't be anything else.
And it always will.
Gares gets 1. He might get another one. Well, he changed away. It looked like he was going to use the Molotov, and if he'd used it, I think he would have killed shox. Not at that angle, though. Should know he's still there, but, well, he doesn't. And that'll be that. Half-time, LDLC lead 12-3 on Inferno. Very good performance from the Frenchman.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Cloud9, you know, highlights, I suppose. Yeah, a bit of a rush onto a site. That worked out. They had a very good execution of a B strat as well, which was nicely done. But it's like the 6th or 7th time they tried it, admittedly, and it finally worked. Other than that, there's not a huge amount to take out of that.
From LDLC, we saw just all around great individual skill. SmithZz came up huge. The only time he actually got picked from his mid aggressions was once. So SmithZz largely was unpunished, and they didn't try to block off the aggression and the picks with smokes or anything like that. They weren't really able to take banana very often or even play with that. They weren't even able to take apartments frequently either. It felt like Cloud9 didn't really ever have an answer for the way that LDLC was playing their CT sides, because LDLC mixed it up. They had very passive CT sides where they would have allowed Cloud9 if they wanted to take control. And we did see Cloud9 played a lot with trying to create rotations and so on, but generally speaking, LDLC just staying advantage.
22 and 6, sorry Dan. 22 and 6 for SmithZz on that first half.
Beasting it.
22 and 6. It's statistics like that make me moist.
I'm just going to leave that. This is decent. After that, you know, just let you sit in the awkwardness.
Just going to leave that one out there. You know, I'm an author as well, so I just appreciate when you see a player like SmithZz playing like that well. Admittedly, on CT side of Inferno. But, nevertheless, here we go then. Round 1, second half. And the beard has struck on Shroud inside the covered site. And they're going to plant very early on. There's only 2 players left already here. Oh, well, make that 1 player left. And Hiko on his own here. 1v4. He's got himself 1. Got himself 2. Still has 4 health here as well. This is still a tall order, though. Even for a man of Hiko's ability. Into the bomb site. He's getting tracked from one side to the other. Goes for the fake defuse. Doesn't get the 3rd kill, unfortunately. NBK picking it up. Nice effort, though, by Hiko. But it's all to no avail. 13-3, and, well, LDLC really motoring towards victory in game 1, just as our analysts said they would.
Yes, exactly. I mean, LDLC did get to start off on the CT side. It's definitely more comfortable. It's definitely easier to pick up rounds. But at the same time, the lack of T ability there from Cloud9 was just very, very worrying. And outclassed is really the only way to put it so far. And we'll have to see if they're able to pull something off here. They do have some pistols.
We're going for hashtag outclassed, are we?
SmithZz.
Well, haha. Gares got one. And Hiko also got one in the middle of that as well. Do have a very eclectic mix of weaponry right now to LDLC. There's a shotgun, an AK, two men remaining from Cloud9. Well, they've done their jobs here though. Lovely little deagle strike from Shroud. Bomb has been planted, so they're going to have to try and get in here. But semphis was already there very early and could pick up a lovely frag. And semphis, what do you know? Into the bomb site very quickly. Bomb will be defused on the long defuse without a kit. And Cloud9 lived to fight another day. Thought it was all over, but
no, I mean, like I said, there's
not
SmithZz.
quite yet. Yeah,
When there are SmithZz, there is hope.
Yeah, and that's the difference between the first half and the second half. Because in the first half, they used SmithZz, they did nothing with them. In fact, they did a round where they all bought SmithZz and didn't do a single point of health. They did another round where they bought them, did a little bit of damage, but they didn't kill anyone. This time round, that's how to use a SmithZz.
And we do have a situation where this round means 2, and unfortunately Cloud9 are not in a situation where they can afford to lose anything. So Cloud9 could actually get momentum from this round, but it's got to be a pretty huge one, and it really depends on what kind of strategy LDLC want to go for. It seems like they are looking at a default setup at the moment, just taking control of apartments and banana, and then assessing their options upon what they have seen then, from that point forwards. They do get smoked off there. We can see that there is some information gathering attempt, and the smoke is going to foil that as LDLC just sit and wait for the grenades and try to bait out some more.
Wasn't the greatest of smoke either. If you look at it on the left-hand side, you can still see through the side. It's kind of up against the wall, which makes it a little bit of a sloppy smoke.
Oh, that was nice.
That's going to let them in round that corner as well. semphis, though, will stop the attack very quickly indeed. And good defensive work from semphis here. Shroud's going to chime in with another one. Nothing chipping in with another one. And that's the 4th down here. And Happy will fall at the hands of Shroud. Nicely done from Cloud9 on that covered site. And 13-5. I think, did Thorin pick out 16-5 as a scoreline?
I think he did, yeah.
I think he did too.
But LDLC aren't going to buy here. LDLC, if they had like a bomb plant there, they probably would have bought up and forced it, because they know that Cloud9's economy is against the road, so they have the big buffer of rounds to play with as well, and keeping the economy under pressure is always a priority for them. So they are going to try to take control of banana though.
R&D can try and take control. There are 2 men up there, one by Car, one by Sandbags right now. And, well, doesn't really matter because Gares can lock both of them down. Here comes Hiko, double from him. Finishes off the round nicely. And Cloud9 on a bit of a roll in the second half.
And now things get interesting as we are able to see what LDLC is going to go for in this round. Are they, what do they read so far from Cloud9? It could be that they have so much comfort in the match right now with the buffer of rounds to play with. They can just try to feel them out, and once again, just go for the more passive openings. Get the map control, get apartments, try to force Cloud9 all the way to the furthest back defenses that they possibly can, and then try to play with rotations and see how far that gets them.
See how it works out in round number 20 right now. There are plenty of options for them right now. The bomb is sort of between, well, it's going up in right now. There are 2 at the top of banana, 2 here inside the apartment. semphis once again holding CT arch.
The aim is to really push these 2 players on this angle, like all the way back. They don't have to commit to a play after that, but that's the next step.
shox is out though, into mid. Tries to pick up the first kill at the top of that midi. Well, he does pick it up as well through the flash. NBK also got one. And now they have an advantage in towards this bomb site. They're going to rotate away from it though. Are they? No, they're going to stay. Shroud is in pit. They've got 1 man over in library as well. I think they're going to rotate, but well, no, they are. They're going to come back to the site. And you know what, Shroud? He might be able to pick up some big kills here. No, shox locks him down very quickly. And surely now Cloud9 are going to have to get out of here. with some weaponry to save. Indeed, that's exactly what Hiko's doing, as well as abusing some chickens on the way. That's not cool, brother.
Well, I mean, it was a really awkward position when both players on CT Arch side decided to just face and go for the frags against so many players. I mean, it was already highlighted how strong LDLC are in these situations on the mid-ranges. I mean, you got shox, you got NBK for God's sake, and kioShiMa as well. I mean, these guys are just frag crazy on these pushes. It's hard to play these 2-on-3s where you're at man disadvantages without any grenades to really be helping you. It's really, really hard to do that. You see a lot of teams opt to actually fall back and try to create better engagements for themselves instead of just peeking out into their their aggression. So obviously we can see that play towards LDLC's favor as they just took the 2 kills easily, and then it's an easy choice to pick up the push onto A. And Cloud9 now against the ropes with a buy, but certainly not with the cash after this.
I love the fact that you just tried to press the scoreboard.
I know, I wanted to see the money again.
The keyboard doesn't actually work on our desk right now. It still needs to be plugged in properly. But yeah, I wanted to do the same thing, and you did exactly what my mind said, and of course nothing came up on the screen. LDLC though, just 2 rounds away from winning the opening game here at the FACEIT Finals in Milan. If you're just joining us, welcome to live coverage from Milan Games Week, who I'm reliably told for the first time are having esports here in a big way. And talking of a big way, LDLC fresh off another victory, starting as they mean to go on here. And we'll wrap up their 15th round of the game. It is match point in game 1. Remember, these are best of 1s. You play 1 home, 1 away. As far as I understand it, this is LDLC's home game.
Yes.
Because they got to pick Inferno after 2 maps are vetoed by Cloud9. We'll then follow it up. The very next game will be Cloud9 versus LDLC, but it will be Cloud9's turn to pick from 3 maps. We'll be coming up right after this one.
A Mirage or an Overcast. We know that much already. We'll have to wait and see how things actually turn out. But so far, it really looks, I mean, it looks terrible. I mean, outclassed is really the best way to put this right now. Cloud9 don't look like they're even able to compete on an individual level. And when it comes to their tactics as well on the defensive side, as well as the aggressive side, they're not measuring up against LDLC on Inferno, staying true to the stats that Thorin was talking about.
One of the things that really has stood out to me is that the man that really hasn't chipped in anything so far to his team is nothing. He has 5 frags. And
it's a bit ironic.
You can't just chip in 5 frags and expect your team to be doing well when you're expected to be one of the the bosses, the main guy, the guy that's going to step up and show everyone how to play.
Look at this again, LDLC working their way up into middle. Largely it's quite an easy task, but I think Cloud9 are kind of they have a pretty sour taste in the mouth from last time they tried to really actively contest that, so they kind of given it up, which is a good reaction. It's not anything to be ashamed about. And once again, we're seeing LDLC trying to bully their way into B.
Might just get in there as well. Here comes shox, firing on all cylinders straight away this morning. Hiko, who has been one of the few players that has really put up some good resistance on that C9 side. Bomb planted here, and well, it's 5v4, but it might as well be 5v2 because there's so little health on that Cloud9 side, but somehow Shroud and semphis have combined themselves to pick up a couple of frags, and another one in towards the bomb site now. There's only 2 men remaining. NBK, though, rips the head off the top of semphis. Nothing gets shut down, and the terrorist-sided LDLC are victorious 16-6 in the end. And in the end, I think, Dan, it was pretty straightforward.
It really was. There was no response. There was no response for Cloud9 against both the defense and the offense. I mean, there just wasn't anything. I would love to hear Thorin and Lerpus's thoughts on this match.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's get their thoughts.
Bring that whole commercial break. So
analysis, guys. Well, actually, let's head over there right now.
Come on, then it went up.
Oh, hey, we're live. Whoa, hey. I still saw the young, well, not so young. Sorry. Hey, we're live. Welcome back. So, kind of a mix of what you two predicted.
Closer to 16-5 than 16-8, I believe.
That's true. If we're doing the prices right,
yeah,
if
we're just giving
win.
I know Tommy's a stats man.
Whoa, hold on. The price is right. Not price is almost right. Price is close.
It's not price is even less right, though.
Almost doesn't count.
Okay.
But it's close to the actual
That's what
price.
my girlfriend says, but enough about that.
But it's close to the actual price without going over in the showcase of Price is Right. So technically, you would be the winner. because 5 would be under, not over. You would
Almost
be a loser.
almost
Getting
doesn't count.
schooled right now, son.
I'm an old guy. Okay, watch Price is Right. All right, so again, like you said, Inferno, obviously dominating performance yet again by this LDLC lineup. And again, they talked about it on stream. The lack of nothing. Huge impact and a negative for those guys.
I mean, Jordan had a poor game. I think he finished with something like 5-6 frags. He actually hasn't had that many good tournaments in Europe this year. He's been really good at those couple ESEA finals, like really, really good, even against some of the better European teams, but just struggled here, not really sure why. Definitely didn't help Cloud9 that he wasn't playing well. Looked okay for them early on when they got those 2 gun rounds, but then losing that semi-buy by LDLC that would have actually broken the French's money, that kind of turned it back to the French's favor.
I mean, that's always been the problem with Nothing, is like, we all look at him and we go like, oh, you feel like he could be a better player, like he could be a big impact player. And I've always had this discussion with him over the years. Like, I feel like in the NA scene, his team particularly, they lack for like the superstar. They have good players, like Shroud can have a good map, Hiko can be pretty consistent, but they don't have the big name. They don't have the Get Right. They don't have a Dossier. They don't have a shox. They just don't have someone like that. So unfortunately, when you're behind in a game like that and you're really getting beat on, you don't still have the one player at least who can win some rounds for you and keep you in the game, let everyone else have a chance to catch up. You don't really have that. And so it was a bit of a whitewash there. And you saw like their terrorist side, it's hard to even know how bad their terrorist side was because it just looked so good from LDLC. Like when we and Lurpus were talking here, in terms of maps, on Inferno especially, it's hard to see anyone beating LDLC. Like, okay, maybe, luckily in this tournament, we've got Fnatic, we've got Virtus.pro, maybe they can challenge on them because they're very good Inferno teams, but LDLC might be the best Inferno team in the world.
Yeah, and no one's going to veto it, right? In the way this process works, that map is always going to be available to them, especially, obviously, if they're the home team and they have the pick.
Especially if you're Virtus.pro and you play it, you're going to want to play it. So actually, yeah, I think we're going to see this more from LDLC as the tournament goes on. Anything
to add? Did you see anything that stuck out in particular? Obviously, again, it was a pretty dominant performance by LDLC, but any rounds, any play there on either side that showed you anything that you want to mention?
Well, the thing is, we both pretty much knew from the moment we heard the map that it was going to be LDLC's game, and I think once it started looking that way in game, you kind of just mentally check out because you already know what's going to happen. But I mean, they just looked much better. But it was their best map, so hopefully Cloud9 can put up more of a fight in the second game.
Well, I mean, since we mentioned like the guy for Cloud9 that wasn't really stepping up, Nothing didn't really have a good game, you have to say like a very good game on the side of LDLC was SmithZz actually. SmithZz was top fragging, he was doing very well, and that actually it was kind of a throwback to the Very Games days. Remember NBK, SmithZz, shox, they were all in Very Games. Very Games was a really good Inferno team, and actually these are the same positions he plays. He plays that like inner B part of area where he holds that angle, he plays the inside of the archway that you wrap around. These are his spots where in the game, I'd say actually, even though he's a support player, these are some of the best support positions of any player in the game. So Inferno's his map, CT's his half, and that's I think why he had a really good showing there. And it kind of, that was a very positive sign for LDLC going forwards actually. If you've got a map nailed down like that, and it's one other teams who are good will play you on, you're already halfway towards winning best of threes there. So I think they're looking very strong.
Yeah, and again, like they did everything right. Both pistols, never